Hello everyone again. I'm reading out another story about a witch from North Yorkshire. It's called Old Katty of Ruswarp. Old Katty lived in a wonderful time for witches, for the brutal laws against witchcraft had just been repealed. But the belief in witchcraft amongst country folk was still strong. Katty made the most of her evil reputation, terrifying the local population. None dared look in the face, for they believed she had the evil eye, and could cast spells on them with a wicked glance if anyone had to talk to her. They did so in a very professional manner, cap in hand, eyes looking down to the ground. As a result, old Katty, old and smelly hag as she was, began to feel that she was rather better than her neighbours, and began to look down on them. Now one day, much to everyone's surprise, a ragged old pedlar known as Abe Rogers came to Ruswarp, walked straight into old Katty's cottage, sat in her best chair, put his feet on the table, dropped his pack on the floor, and said, "Put the kettle on, you old witch." Today we do not see many pedlars, but at that time they were common enough. They bought a few packets of pins or other cheap articles in a town, then sold them round the countryside, often telling a sad tale of misfortune to the country folk, so that in pity they would buy the goods whether they needed them or not. Pedlars often slept in hedges and were very poor. All their worldly possessions carried on a pack over their shoulder. The neighbours, forgetting for a while their fear of old Katty, gathered near the door, all peering in. They saw the old woman meekly pick up the kettle, fill it, and put it over the fire, glancing nervously now and then at the pack. Everyone expected that once it boiled, she would pour it over the pedlar's head, but were amazed when she mashed the tea and gave him a cup in her best china. Murmuring, amazed, they went home, wondering how Abe Rogers dared to treat old Katty in this way. And from their wondering and muttering, a legend grew. So, the legend of old Katty and the pedlar. Once upon a time there lived in Ruswarp a powerful witch called old Katty. Old Katty had many wonderful spells, and had as her familiars 23 huge demons to carry out her will. One day, while walking up on the hills by a tiny bridge over a little stream, over which only one person could cross at a time, she came upon a pedlar known as Abe Rogers. Old Katty thought that she, a powerful witch with 23 huge demons to carry out her will, was very much better than a mere pedlar, and although he was already on the bridge, she told him to stand aside and let her across. Abe ignored her command and carried on. The old witch jumped up onto the bridge to block his way, but the pedlar yanked her up by her collar and dumped her into the stream. Old Katty was furious. She waded to the bank and pulled out a knife, ready to cut him to pieces. He, however, simply laughed, knocked the knife out of her hand, and tripped her into a muddy patch. Old Katty, now in a crimson rage, decided to use her supernatural powers to gain revenge. She muttered a few secret words, and immediately 23 great ugly demons appeared in a circle around Abe Rogers. Katty shouted, "Don't let him get away," and the awful creatures began to advance on Abe, bearing great yellow teeth, red eyes gleaming. Old Katty rubbed her hands with glee, looking forward to seeing the upstart peddler ripped limb from limb. The peddler dropped his pack, but not in fear. He pulled out a little wallet, and from this wallet plucked a tiny pinch of dust, which he threw straight up into the air. Suddenly a great whirlwind appeared, spinning the dust into the demons' faces, who fell to the ground in agony, clutching at their eyes. Abe snatched up old Katie's knife, cut off the left ears of the creatures, and popped them into his pack. He knew that by having part of their flesh and blood, they could have no power over him. He picked up his pack, smiled mockingly at old Katty, and went on his way. After this, whenever he passed Ruswarp, Abe made a point of visiting old Katty and making himself at home, putting his feet up on the table and shouting, "Put the kettle on, you old witch." And he always got his tea too, for old Katty, although she was hardly pleased to be addressed in this way, was too terrified of what else might be lurking in the bottom of his pack to mutter or protest. Right, okay, that's a short story. Another witch story. So that's 2 tonight. So, yeah, I won't be doing any more tonight. So, yeah, I'm sorry about the last one. The sound went up and I don't really know what happened there, to be honest. And I was talking about the car again, as usual. But, yeah, I think I'll just finish it there now, to be honest. For tonight, anyway. And, yeah, I'll just keep you updated. And hopefully I'll have a car very soon. Hopefully. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And, yeah, I'll be back on as soon as possible. So take care, everyone. Good night.